We're going to talk about integrity. And what does the dictionary say about integrity? I have a few here. And it says adherence to moral and ethical principles, usually associated with honesty. It also says the state of being complete or unified. Well, for us to make it easier to understand what integrity is, integrity comes from the word integer. You know what an integer is? An integer is a whole number. Buo. Hindi siya 1.5, hindi siya 1.5, hindi siya 3/4. It's either 1, 2, 11, 51, or 100. It's a whole number. Because integrity refers to wholeness. It means who am I inside, or what I claim to be, matches my walk and talk. In other words, my behavior is a demonstration of what I truly believe in. There is no mismatch. In other words, I cannot claim to be someone and yet act differently from what I claim to be. Let's look at how Stephen Covey defines integrity. He also talks about integrity, and he talks about it as the core of our character. And he says that in this character, there are three elements. One is congruence. What is congruence? There is consistency. There is no gap between what you claim to be and what you are actually doing. That's how Stephen Covey defines congruence. He talks about humility, because a person with integrity exercises humility. In other words, that person actually seeks the good of others. And it is consistent, of course, with to what most of you read in the Bible that says that you look not only after your own interests, but also on the interests of others. And of course, Covey talks about integrity that requires courage. In other words, you are prepared to make a stand for your convictions no matter what happens. And so these three combine into what we call integrity in terms of Stephen Covey's definition. Let's also define what it is not. Integrity is not about just being consistent, but being righteously consistent. Hindi siya parang halimbawa, sabi ng tao, magnanakaw naman ako so nagnakaw ako. So I'm just being consistent. Kasi I never claim to be a moral or righteous person. Well, I'm sorry, that's not what integrity means. Because it is based on a strict moral or ethical standard. So, righteously consistent. It's not about being pious or behaving in a manner that people would call parang santo. No? Because people would always equate integrity with piousness. Yung hindi ka tumatawa ng malakas, mahina ka magsalita, hindi ka maingay, Pinoy yung iyong galaw. No? Kawawa naman kaming malilikot at may ingay. Kasi wala kaming integrity sa pananaw ng mga taong yon. Well, it's not about being or acting pious, but it is behaving consistently in a godly manner. And integrity is not also about the big things, but even the little things. Sabi nga nila, anong pagkakaiba ng nagnakaw ng 40 million sa gobyerno doon sa nagnakaw ng 40 pesos? And my answer to that is wala. Both have compromised their character, and they've lost their integrity because they lacked honesty. I remember when I worked for a certain institution before, and this institution was known for their ethical standards. They have leaders that uphold high moral standards. And so I was happy to be part of this group. And then one day I was asked to travel, and I liquidated my travel expenses. And in my liquidation, I honestly put their tricycle. Residence to producer's market. Wala nang producer's market ngayon. 250. No? And then, producer's market to office. No? Jeep, 2 pesos. At the time, it was 2 pesos. It was a long time ago. And I was shocked because my boss, my supervisor, immediately came back to me and actually got my liquidation and slammed it on my desk and said, palitan mo yung liquidation mo. And I was shocked because I thought I violated some of the high moral and ethical standards of this company that I was working with. And then, tinignan ko, sabi ko, boss, eto talaga yung gastos ko eh. Sabi niya, hindi. Pag nagta-travel ka, ilalagay mo dyan residence to office, 50 pesos. And office to airport, 200 pesos. Lalagay mo dyan taxi. And I was shocked. But to be honest, I actually entertained thoughts of doing that in order not to fall in disfavor with my boss. And I started changing some of my liquidation. But you know what? The more I was correcting this liquidation that I had, the more it really hurt me inside. And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I will leave it as it is. And of course, that got the ire of my boss. And obviously, I was not in his favor anymore. But that is what integrity is all about. It's not about saying, it's not about declaring na hindi ako magnanakaw ng 1,000,000. Eh hindi. Nagnakaw ka nga ng 200 pesos eh. Kasi sabi ng boss ko, magkumuha ka lang ng resibo, tumingin ka sa labas, kumuha ka ng taxi, RNE. Isusulat mo doon, mag-iimbento ka ng pangalan ng driver, pipirma ka ng kaliwa o kanan, liquidated na yon. I cannot do that. And for me, stealing 200 pesos just for me to be able to recover some of the cost related to my travel is as dishonest as stealing 200 million pesos. Because integrity is not about the big things. It's about the small things, and God will test you in these small things. Now, going back to Stephen Covey's definition, it requires courage. Now, at that point, it required courage because I might lose my job. I obviously got in disfavor with my boss. And it reminds me of this song that my kids were singing in their school before. And it says here, do right. The title of the song is Do Right. It says, do right till the stars fall. Do right till the last call. Do right when there's no one else to stand by you. Do right when you're all alone. Do right though it's never known. Do right since you love the Lord. Do right. Do right. My friends, that is what integrity is all about. Regardless of the cost, you make a stand for your convictions because you have to be consistent with what you believe in, and you have to show what you believe in through the way you behave and you live your life. Thank you.